All right, so now we're ready for the tempering. So what I'm gonna do is heat this knife up to where it's non-magnetic and then just heat it up a little bit more after that. I'm just gonna heat up this blade part, this front part, because that's what I want to be hard. I want the handle to have some like shock resistance and stuff like that. But this blade, I want it to be hard and hold a nice edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna light up this torch. And I'm not going to talk during the process because I kind of have to, everything's going to happen kind of quickly, I think. I'm not sure. I've never done this before. So we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to light this torch. I'm going to heat up this blade. And then once it hits past non-magnetic, my magnet is right here. It's at the end of this piece of steel. I'm going to quench it in this canola oil until it stops smoking. And then after that, I'm going to set it on these plates, these weighted plates right here, and let them sit overnight. So that way when it cools, it has a higher chance of cooling flat. So that way it doesn't warp or the edge doesn't move on me or anything like that. So, all right, here we go. All right, so for some reason, it's just not getting hot enough to get non-magnetic. I'm gonna try one more thing. All right, so I don't think it was holding enough heat. The wind's blowing and I think it's just kind of cooling it down faster than it might be heating up. So what I did was stack 2 cinder blocks, put the knife in there. I'm going to reheat this and see how it goes. All right, there's that. And take this, dip it in here, and while I do this, I'm actually shaking it back and forth so any oxygen doesn't form around the sides of the blade and create scale. Put my blade right there, and this plate on top of it, and let it cool. I'm gonna let it sit there overnight and see how that goes. All right, so after tempering the blade, which I just brought it up, just to recap, I brought it up to a non-magnetic temperature and then just a little bit past that. So what I did was I heated it up with that torch. I ended up having to build a small like makeshift forge out of some cinder blocks, put the blade in there and then attached just held the propane torch over the blade. And then after that, I picked it up and I dipped the top part, I dipped that into canola oil to quench it. And I shook it around to make sure no oxygen bubbles formed around the blade, and it helps reduce slag, I think. After I did the heat treat, after I did the quenching, I ended up putting it in the oven at 400 degrees for an hour. Now, depending on the type of steel you have determines what temperature and how long you keep it at that temperature. And what that does, so after you do your quench, your knife becomes really, really hard and brittle. So if you were to drop it, it would just, shatter. If you were to drop it on the hard surface, it would just shatter. By putting it in the oven and letting that process occur, it lets the grain structure kind of realign and stabilize itself. So if I were to drop it, it wouldn't, well, I don't think it'll shatter. I think I did everything correctly. And then while I was waiting on this, I ended up getting this one grinded out, and then I did the quench, and then I just got done with the heat treat and I let it cool down to room temperature. This one has more of a buoy shape to it. This one is just a regular camp knife shape. And this one has more of a a small buoy shape to it. Now this one is made out of thicker steel actually, so this is an even heavier duty one. This one took longer to bring up to temp during the quench. All right, this is William Bond from Perma Pastures Farm. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the sharpening part and the handle making. If you like this video, if you thought it was helpful, hit the like button down below and don't forget to subscribe.